Hi, friends. In our time together today, I'm introducing that classical piece, March in D by Bach, for us to play on our low and high D whistles. Now, when I say it's by Bach, you're automatically thinking Johann Sebastian Bach. This supposedly is actually composed by his son, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. You'll often hear referred to as CPE Bach. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's part of the history. Anyway, you all have asked and requested that we walk through so many amazing tunes recently. Thank you. I've got the list. I'm trying to work through them, and I really appreciate it. You know, I've got tunes I find I love, but you all were like, hey, have you thought about introducing this tune? And I love it when you guys do that. It's so much fun. And this is one of those. And classical pieces actually are a delight to play on our whistle if we can find one that we can play on our whistle. And so that's a lot of fun. Now, for the walkthrough today, I'm using the Goldfinch whistle, and I'll put a link in the notes to this video to where you could pick up one if you're interested. I'll also stick a link at the top of the notes to this video to the page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs for this tune. What we'll do is we'll follow our usual pattern. I'll walk us through the tune. It has an A part and a B part, and I'll walk us through one phrase at a time. It's easier to learn that way. And then I'll share the play along with Scott's section where I just play through the entire tune at a steady pace. We'll then talk about challenges I think you'll experience. I'll share some ornamentation and expression ideas. Yes, ornament classical music. And then we'll talk about the history of the tune. So I'll stand, walk through the A part, one phrase at a time, so that you're able to, grasp that. You can watch the phrase, pause, learn the phrase, unpause, learn the next phrase. All right, here we go. The A part. Yes, that was a G sharp, and yes, it includes a trill. Yeah, I'll tell you about how to do those in the difficulties. Here's the B part. Okay, that's the entire tune. phrase at a time. And I'll now, in the Play Along with Scott section, I'm just going to play the entire tune, including repeats, and then as you're learning it, you can play along with me. So, here's the whole tune. Alrighty. That's the whole tune. And, jumping into some of the challenges I think you'll experience, and I think you're thinking about a couple of them, or at least you were thinking about them as I was walking us through the tune. So the G sharp is, you're playing the G, then you take that third finger, the finger covering the third hole, and you take it off of part of the hole. So it's between the G and the A. And so sometimes it's easier to feel it that way. Play G, lift off a bit of the finger, then play the A. And when you hear a note that's right in between, then you found the G sharp. And you're going to miss it some, you'll hit it some. Now, a trill is when you hit a note and you just bounce the finger that's playing that note. So it's a B in this instance. You can play a short trill or a longer trill. But you really should hold it the length of the note, which is a beat and a half. Now, I'm going to share a practice session in a couple of days, and one of the things I want to say, I think one of the biggest challenges is this is in cut time. You'd think that the pace I played it is the right pace. It's a march, but it's in cut time, so you need to play it twice as fast. Wait for my practice session, and go listen to some recordings. So the other challenge are the runs. I think your fingers will figure them out. Just get it, just work on that a little bit. Run the phrases. Run one phrase at a time. Work that phrase and do the next phrase. Stitch them together and you should be okay. You do have to play the B. And then at the end, you've got to play the third octave D. And if you don't hit it, that's okay. Try it. So, it gets a little cumbersome. Some of the notes you've got like a C natural in one of the runs, and so it's a bit of a challenge. But I think it'll be okay for you. Now, thinking about ornamentation and expression, the way I was raised, when you play a classical piece, you play exactly what's there. But then that's a complete misconception of classical music. You get an orchestra together. You've got the conductor at the front. The conductor's job is to emote a version of the tune. And so even an orchestra is automatically playing something slightly different than what's on the page. They are already expressing it. There are already some extra things they're adding in, and extra things are ornaments. So I think this is classical pieces are fun to ornament. And in my practice session, I'll do a little bit more, but I'm thinking things like so have fun with it, mess around, experiment, and see what you feel will work for you. And a couple of days, and I'll work on it between now and then, and that gives you time to work on it between now and then too. Let's think through a bit of the history of the tune. So yes, March in D, and I said it's by Bach, and I said at the start that it's not Johann Sebastian. Most likely not Johann Sebastian. It's most likely his son, C.P.E. Bach. And C.P.E. lived from 1714 to 1788. It's pretty interesting because he was a very gifted musician and composer in his own right, but I have a feeling he didn't think he lived up to his dad's standards. You see, at 17, he entered the University of Leipzig to study law. He continued his studies, but he was like the chief harpsichord player at I think a cathedral, and then he was teaching, and he was composing some. And some letters of his exist. And in a letter, he makes it clear that he didn't think much of his compositions. He said that they are only fit to be thrown into the fire. So, wow. I wish he hadn't done that, but, I get the angst of the composer. Now, so his dad, Johann Sebastian Bach, had made a couple of books for Anna Magdalena Bach, that's Johann Sebastian's wife, CPE's mother. And see, what Johann Sebastian did was he made two books that were of tunes and for his children, to help his children and his wife learn music better. And that's pretty cool. They're notebooks, they're called. And for his wife and his family to study. It is said by those who study such things that C.P.E. Bach wrote March in D when he was younger. Maybe right before his teenage years, or maybe at the start of his teenage years. And this March in D is included in the second notebook. And that's why a lot of people say that the dad wrote it. But it's quite possible that his son wrote it when he was like an adolescent. That's phenomenal. Anyway, we don't know 100%, but that's the way the story reads as I've been able to discern it. My friends, I hope you really enjoy learning this classical piece. Don't feel stuck and tied to it. Have a great time playing it. Ornament it. A couple of days, like I said, I'll share a practice session of my own and give you some more ornamentation and expression ideas. And if this is helpful, please like the video. That helps YouTube promote our channel. If you're brand new and checking us out because it's a classical piece and you wondered if you could play a classical piece on your whistle, of course you can, then please subscribe and join our community of friends learning to play the whistle together. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling, friends.